All right, so I hope this is recording. This is my second or third time trying to record a video. The Canvas thing wasn't jiving with my browser, I guess. Firefox is awful. But I wanted to start by saying I wish I had one of those Hermione tools that she had in Harry Potter where she could like get her time back for the day and get more time to study and read, because these big thinkers' ideas like Ferrer and Wilber, they're so far reaching, and there's so many references to great thinkers that came before them, Nietzsche, Kant, contemporaries like Tarnas and Grof, that it's just like, wow, I just have so many threads that I want to pull on, and I really have to take what they say sort of at face value. Like I'm taking their analysis of, perennialist philosophy, participatory philosophy, his integral theory. I'm taking, what they're saying sort of as is. And like, I sort of say, oh, they probably know more than me. So, one of them's got to be right, or maybe they're both sort of right. But I find the same problem. Like I'm working my way through Passion of the Western Mind as we work through our regular school curriculum. And that's a book by Richard Tarnas, sort of delineating the trajectory of Western thought, starting with sort of Platonism and leading all the way up postmodernism and after. And, a lot of these ideas that he throws out there, I have to take for face value because I haven't read Kant and I haven't read much Nietzsche, and I definitely haven't read much Plato or know much about Pythagoras or any of these guys he talks about. But, it's poetic how he writes, and it's well articulated. And I just sort of hope that he did his homework, right? Which I'm sure these guys did for sure. But bringing it back to what I really wanted to talk about was, from a psychological psychology, wanting to help, wanting to see where certain theories are applicable in the scheme of things when it comes to like healing and transforming the individual and the collective. I see a lot of deficits in Wilber's thought, especially his like spectrum of psychology, which, it took a long time for him to even add in a fulcrum that involved the perinatal and embryonic experience of the human, and that the bearing that had on the psyche, which as someone who has read a lot of Grof and had firsthand experiential, therapies that, holotropic breath work and various sort of entheogens where I've had perinatal experiences, they've been healing, perinatal layered with archetypal motifs and whatnot. I really believe that's important because I think there's a huge body of evidence, like Grof says in this paper that I'll post, or this essay that I'll post at the bottom of this. He says there's a huge body of research pointing towards the influence that these perinatal experiences, traumas, the process has on the psyche, right? The imprint these experiences leave on the psyche when it comes to personality development, mood disorders, and pathologies. And it also lays out, Grof specifically lays out how to go in and how to deal with these, and how to let your inner intelligence sort of process and begin to symbolically re-experience this material through various means of, all these different holotropic technologies we have, which was strange because at the end of the Wilber article, they talked about how Grof doesn't touch on therapies. I forget the exact line, but it was something about Grof and the deficit that he has in the realm of therapies. And I'm like, Grof spent his whole life as a healing artist, right? And he's still alive doing the thing, holotropic breathwork and all the LSD psychotherapy. So I didn't really understand where they were coming from there. My weight is definitely more with Ferrer. And I know that's a little biased, right? Because Ferrer, Grof, Tarnas, and them, they can be seen as sort of CIIS cronies, maybe. But I do love the departure from perennialist philosophy and how Ferrer elaborates on like what a participatory philosophy would be like, and how a perennialist philosophy still sort of subscribes to the Cartesian paradigm. That being that there's this subject-object dichotomy, and I don't have enough time to get into here. I think I've written about it in other posts where this dichotomy we've gotten into a lot of trouble thinking that, this is just matter, right? This is soulless matter. We live in a soulless world, and the mind is separate from it, et cetera, et cetera. So I did like the participatory philosophy. I did like the Ferrer article or passage in the Wiley-Blackwell handbook, sort of elaborating on all the different kinds of perennial philosophies. But I'm going to come back to the point that Grof makes in this essay that I'll share, that a theory needs to be more than just logically cohesive to be a theory, right? Or a model or a useful model. It needs to be able to be observed by other people. And for that, you need a body of empirical data. And Grof has that. He gained that through his clinical practice and through developing holotropic breathwork. And Wilber doesn't have a clinical practice. Grof highlights that in that essay. It's something he lacks, and he's just basing this off of being a wide-read individual, a very intelligent individual, and his own personal spiritual practice, instead of seeing a process like Grof saw play out over and over again. This perinatal layered with archetypal motifs and transpersonal experiences in these non-ordinary states of consciousness, and therefore developed his cartography of the mind and map of the mind, his transpersonal theory. Whereas Wilber's is huge, far-reaching, but leaves out the perinatal and is not based on clinical experience. So I just can't throw my weight behind it. But all in all, I really enjoyed the readings, and I cannot wait to hear your guys' responses. And I can't wait to respond to you guys. Hope this uploads.